Let's do it.
Oh, hello again, rabid internet fan base. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hemingway Land YouTube channel. What, pray tell, what is this in front of us? Yes, guys, it is a picture of the Sonoran Desert because we're back this week for the first time in a long time with property in Arizona. Seriously, guys, this one's a good one today. So you're going to want to wake the kids, gather them around the computer, the laptop, the iPad, the smartphone, the retinal implant, whatever people are using to watch these videos these days. I don't know. I can't keep track. But you're going to want to watch this one because this property today is really good. Before I get to the property, however, let me bore you with a story. So today's property comes as a matter of kismet, if you will. I have been spending more time in New Mexico over the last few months. Regular viewers of this channel will know how much I am loath to fly anywhere. And thus, I have been driving back and forth from Las Vegas to, give or take, Albuquerque every couple weeks, something like that. It's about a 10-hour drive, something. But for me, it goes very quickly. I listen to my podcast, whatever. Anyway, as I have been driving the I-40 through northern Arizona, there are 5 counties that you will cross. Mojave, Yavapai, Coconino, Navajo, and then Apache going from west to east. And as I drive through these counties, I find... First off, guys, I can't resist looking out the window and being like, oh, look at that. That's Bridge Canyon Country Estates over there. Oh, look at that. That's Apache, ranchettes over there, whatever. I know all these rural subdivisions just by sight. I know where they're located at. Anyway, but as I drive through these counties, for my own personal taste, I don't find Mojave County very, we'll say, as attractive as other parts of the West, other parts of the desert West. I don't find Yavapai County that appealing. Navajo, Apache, not really to my liking, to my taste. But, guys, you go up into the higher elevations. As soon as you enter Coconino County, and I mean it's a massive county, as soon as you go up into the higher elevations, it is really lovely. It's really pretty up there. And as I was driving back and forth 1 or 2 times, I thought to myself, man, we should try to buy more land in Coconino County. We have bought in this county before. I like it. There's some really good parcels up, say, north of Flagstaff, closer to the Grand Canyon, things like that. We should try to target those subdivisions again and buy out there. Well, no sooner do I arrive back home and we get an email from one of the Hemingway Land All-Stars regular buyer, Noah. Noah had purchased a property from another company in Coconino County some years ago, and he wanted to sell it, and he wanted to see if we were interested in it. In addition to that, Noah then said, oh, hey, by the way, I built a cabin on the land. Is this something you guys might be interested in? So it was the universe telling me, perfect opportunity, you got to buy this property. And then, of course, he sent along the photos. The photos were fantastic, so we scooped it up from our buddy Noah, and today we'll be listing it. As you probably saw in one of the thumbnails my staff is using on these videos. Now, there's a cabin on the property. It's not a reveal, okay? You know it from the thumbnail and the video. So, point is, there's a cabin. It's close to the Grand Canyon. And one quick thing before I let you guys actually watch the video, which is that some years ago we had bought property out here. We were selling 1-acre lots for like $7,000. It was a very, very good profit margin on those properties. Haven't been back to buying and selling in this region in a while. Came back again, started comping land in this region. 1-acre lots out here are now regularly being listed for, selling for around $15,000. Say between 10 and 15, something like that. But I see it on the high end of that, 13, 14, 15, much more. The point is that whether you like today's property or you don't like today's property, I'm very willing to wager that within 5 years it will be double its value today, either as a vacant 1-acre lot or as this 1-acre lot with a structure on it. So really good property in a really great location, got a cabin on it. I was very excited about this, very excited to have land in Arizona again, particularly in a region of Arizona that I find as desirable as this, and I hope you guys will too. So with all that said, let's get to this week's new property. Here we go, guys. All right, people, continuing on with our commitment of all killer, no filler, amazing deals on amazing properties. We have got one for you today, guys. This one's so good. If this was the 1970s, I would tell you, you're going to dig it. Get ready for this one, people, because today's property sits in close proximity to not one but two national forests. It is located outside a major town which boasts top-tier medical services, multiple universities, big box stores, and numerous fantastic restaurants. In addition, this one is located right outside the premier skiing destination in its state. It is but a short drive away from multiple national monuments and parks, including the most iconic one in America. Furthermore, it is situated in a subdivision which has no HOA, no annual dues, no covenants, no restrictions, and whose zoning is such that it allows you to develop the land with structures that look like this, this, and this. And if you think this property can't get any better, let me echo the sentiments of numerous late-night infomercial pitchmen by saying, but wait, there's more, because this very property, the one I have just described as having all of these amazing features, also has, get ready for this one, people, a cabin already on the land. That's right, people, this one is a BYM property, a blowing your mind property. And if you have any mind left to be blown, let me further tell you that this property, like all the properties we sell here at Hemingway Land, is being offered with affordable owner financing, which means if you do not have the entire purchase price of the property right now today, this land can still be yours with a small amount down. So for those of you who would like to learn more about this land, let's go to the map together. Here we go, guys. All right, people, so pictured in front of us here is the state of Arizona. And up here in the northern part of the state, occupying a landmass larger than at least 7 other individual states, is Coconino County. Now, when we zoom in on the map, we will see that crisscrossing the county from west to east, we have the I-40. Down here in the southern part of the county, we have the towns of Williams, Sedona, and Flagstaff. Up here in the northern part of the county, we have the Grand Canyon National Park. And in between these things, we have a number of national monuments, parks, and forests. More on all that in a bit. For now, however, if you were to head north out of Flagstaff and drive about 40 minutes to where the 180 meets the 64, you would come to the blink and you'll miss a town of Valet. And right here, about 20 minutes south of the Grand Canyon, you will find the Grand Canyon Subdivision occupying roughly all the land you see here. Now, I'm going to talk about the property first, guys, and then I will work my way back to all the other things. Here we go. So, first off, the subject property is located just south of the 180 here along Sierra Way and can be accessed off the Dewey Road entrance up here. This is what that looks like, and as we can see, the road conditions in this specific part of the sub are quite good. Dewey looks like this, and Sierra looks even better. Point being, guys, in the less than half a mile that you have to drive from the highway to the land, you should be able to do it, at least in good weather, in any vehicle type. Now, as noted, the subject property sits here along Sierra Way and has property boundary markers staking its 4 corners. This is another advantage of the land, which is your boundaries have already been marked for you, meaning you will not need to spring for an expensive survey. And as we can tell from the photos, the terrain out here is very flat, very level, easy to park, easy to camp, and easy to build on. Speaking of building, before we get to the structure on the land, let's talk about typical development in this region. So, as noted in the opener, the Grand Canyon Subdivision has no HOA, no annual dues, no covenants, and no restrictions. That said, just because it lacks those things does not mean that it is without zoning. The zoning out here, however, is incredibly permissive. How permissive, you ask? Well, Coconino County defines this region as AR, agricultural residential. And if we go back to the property details section here on the listing page and click on the zoning and restrictions tab, we will find this helpful link here, which when clicked will take us to an excerpt from the county zoning ordinance. Now, people, let me quickly say this. Rarely do I see a zoning ordinance so detailed, so explicit, as to avoid any of the typical guesswork. It is almost like somebody in the county said, why don't we write this down somewhere so we don't have to keep answering the phone all the time? Whatever the case, as noted, the property is zoned AR, and while that designation appears to be of substantively little difference than the general or rural residential designations outlined in this same PDF, we've tried to make it a little easier on you here by highlighting the designation and highlighting this column of permitted uses so you can see if it's something you can do without a permit or if it will require a conditional use permit to do. Long story short, guys, this is a substantial list of ways in which you can use or develop the land. And while I will let you sift through this on your own time, the highlights here include, but are not limited to, SFR's manufactured mobile and modular homes may be used for residential purposes. And as long as you have a permanent wastewater disposal system, travel trailers may be used for residential purposes as well. You don't see that written down very often. RVs may be used for recreational purposes, but for no longer, get this guys, than a mere 100 days, which really is like the length of the entire summer. So put another way, you can go RV on the land by the Grand Canyon for the entire summer without anyone bothering you about it. Additionally, gardening and agricultural purposes, including growing things on the land, then using the land to sell those things, that's something I don't normally see. This suggests small little businesses or commercial opportunities for the property, which is probably not a bad thing to have in such a high traffic area. And quite frankly, guys, if gardening is not your thing, Airbnb is certainly viable out here. Anyway, the list goes on, guys. The list goes on. Point being, the zoning is very permissive. And to further illustrate this point, we've included a bunch of photos of nearby developed home sites in the gallery at the bottom of the listing page, just to give you a sense of the many ways in which landowners in this sub have developed their property. You've got everything out here from the more traditional SFRs to mobile homes to A-frames, tiny homes. You've got some people living out of their travel trailers, as we mentioned earlier. Point being, the non-conforming, non-traditional structures that are typically very difficult to get permitted in most places are not only welcomed out here, they are encouraged out here. And just to further expand on the topic of development, or more specifically utilities for a second, if we come back to the map, for as big as this subdivision is, residential power lines pretty much stop at this concentration of homes right outside Valet. They do not extend throughout the region. They do not touch every parcel. And even though you may think there'd be a presence of utilities along the highway, it's surprisingly not the case. Point being, one of the things all those photos of nearby developed home sites have in common are solar panels. And as the subject property does not have power lines on it either, that means anyone planning to develop it will likely require the same. Next, when it comes to water, as with most of the properties we list, city utilities do not service this region. Now, under normal circumstances, that would mean you'd have to drill a well. Yet again, however, I find it telling that all of the other developed home sites appear to be using holding tanks for their water. Now, if I had to guess, I would imagine that means it's possible to drill a well out here, but prohibitively expensive for most to do. So again, anyone looking to develop the land should plan on also using holding tanks. Now, fortunately, guys, it appears a cottage industry has sprung up out here because just up the road in Valet, there are a few places that offer bulk water refill. Point being, for lesser or more rural subs, I would say bulk water refill is normally a headache. Out here, however, it's actually pretty easy to do. You don't even need to drive all the way down to Flagstaff. Alright, so now that we know the many possibilities for how you can develop and use the land, and now that we know what the neighbors are typically doing, let's stop bearing the headline and talk about the thing you all clicked play on the video for, namely, the cabin. Alright guys, the dimensions of the structure are 12 by 16, and this was built on the property in the early months of 2025. It has 5 rectangular windows, 2 facing south, 2 facing east, 1 facing north, and 2 hexagonal windows at the top of the east and west A-frames. And when we go inside, we will see that about 3/4 of the cabin has been insulated and drywalled, and some supplies have been left over to help finish the job. In addition, there are some propane hoses running through the north wall and wires for a solar connection running through the south wall. Floor seems to be in good shape, which tells me the roof probably is too, no leaks, things like that. And the doors have been sealed with great stuff sealant, which helps explain the lack of critters, critter droppings, or critter remains. Point being, guys, the thing seems pretty airtight, or as airtight as these things get. Furthermore, it should be noted, we don't have a close-up of it, but as you can kind of see in this photo, there is a lock on the outside of the cabin. That lock does not have a key. It has a code. It has a beep, beep, boop code, which you tap to unlock the lock and enter the structure. A code, it should be noted, guys, which will be provided to whomever purchases the property. Finally, guys, it is also worth noting that the previous owner left behind this gas grill, as well as this ladder and table. And of course, guys, we here at Hemingway Land buy these properties as is, and we sell them as is, which means the cabin, as well as its contents, and these few leftover items will all become the property of whoever purchases the land. Now, of course, if anyone is going to purchase this property with an eye toward developing it further, it should be noted that while Valet is just up the road, this is mostly just a gas station, a couple hotels, and some tchotchke shops. Fortunately, guys, you head south back to Flagstaff, and you're going to be able to find whatever else you might need. The town, of course, has a population of about 77,000, and with that comes big box stores for groceries and supplies, as well as major hardware stores for tools and building materials. In addition, Flagstaff is just a really cool little mountain town, a lot of great bars and restaurants, places to eat, hang out, and they are the home of the only crumble cookie in northern Arizona. Don't ask me why I know that. And of course, this is a very outdoorsy type of town as well, so they also have a ton of places for you to rent bikes as well as skiing equipment. Now, the mention of skiing brings me to all the mini attractions within this area, starting with the Arizona Snowbowl, home to plenty of great skiing in the winter, as well as family activities in the summer. In addition, without even leaving the county, you'll be able to explore all the many trails and campsites of the Grand Canyon, kayaking and other water sports in Lake Powell. You've got the Coconino National Forest, which is made up of, get this guys, 1.8 million acres. 1.8 million acres of which you can hike, hunt, and camp in. If that's not enough for you, there's also the Kaibab National Forest, which is another 1.6 million acres. There's Walnut Canyon, Glen Canyon, the Wapatki National Monument, Slide Rock State Park, the Meteor Crater, the Lowell Observatory. The list goes on and on, guys. It's a big county with a greater than average list of things to see and do. And while I would relish the opportunity to detail all of those things, my staff keeps encouraging me to keep these 5-minute property videos closer to 20 instead of 30. So I will simply say this. If you would like to learn more about any of the places I just mentioned, simply come back to the listing page, scroll down to the Towns and Attractions section here, click on the Nearby Attractions tab, and over here you will have a list of everything you can do in Coconino County, with each one linked to a corresponding website where you can learn more about each of these attractions, all of which, it should be noted, people, sit no more than 30 minutes from the property we are selling here. So if you would like to purchase this property, there are 2 ways you can do it, both of which begin up here with the Buy Now buttons. For those of you who have the entire $30,000 purchase price, simply come here and click this first Buy Now button, and it will take you to this screen, which details how this whole thing works. It starts out with you placing a non-refundable earnest money deposit of $500, and then choosing at checkout how you would like to close and fund the remainder of the transaction. After that, we will get you documentation within 24 hours, which corresponds to that choice. Some people like to pay us directly via credit card, cashier's check, or wire transfer. If that describes you, the documentation we send you will include a copy of a new deed, which, once you approve, we will sign, notarize, and mail off to the county, and the property will be recorded into your name. And yes, guys, it is really that easy. If, however, you do not feel comfortable paying that much money to strangers on the internet, we completely understand. For you, there is the title escrow option. And the way that one works is you place the $500, within 24 hours we get you a sale purchase agreement, you sign it, we submit it to the title company, and they do the rest. And that rest, by the way, which they do, involves not only insuring the property, but also collecting the remaining $29,500 from you and releasing it to us only once we have signed a new deed and the property has been recorded in your name. And for those of you who haven't dealt with a title company before, don't really understand what they do, I will sum it up by simply saying that a title company is a business whose whole job in life is to prevent against fraud in real estate transactions. So if you do have concerns about purchasing a property of this size or purchasing over the internet, title and escrow is the way for you to go. Now, it should be noted, guys, that we also have an option here for those of you who don't have the entire purchase price of the property but can't afford a reasonable down payment. For you, simply click this second Buy Now button and it will take you to this screen. As you can see up here, the terms offered on this property are $6,000 or 20% down, a 9.9% fixed interest rate, monthly payments of $500, and a 60-month term. And if all of that sounds reasonable and like something you can afford, simply place the $500 down and within 24 hours we will get you a copy of a sale purchase agreement. Once again, guys, you sign it, we submit it to the title company, and they will do the rest. And in this particular circumstance, do the rest not only means insuring the property for you, but also initiating the loan, and that's what this would be, in such a way that protects both your investment as well as our property. And then at close of escrow, they would collect the remaining $5,500 from you, set up reoccurring billing for the monthly $500, and create a deed of trust, which would be the instrument demonstrating your equitable interest in the property until the remaining balance has been paid. And then, of course, once that time comes, the title and escrow company would also be in charge of recording the deed and getting the land officially transferred over into your name. Now, I know all this sounds complicated, guys, but it's actually a really easy process, and it's one that we help quarterback for you. So finally, guys, 2 things to point out here before I wrap up. Thing number 1, if I went too fast through any of that, if there's any aspect of that you did not understand, you'll be glad to know that we have 2 pages on our website. One is called Buying From Us, and one is called Title Escrow Facts. Both of these pages go into far greater detail about the purchasing process than I have the ability to do here in this format. Point being, guys, if you read either one of these, you can learn more about the process of buying from us, as well as working with a title company. Thing 2 is that included at checkout are copies of the contracts we use, whether you're paying for the whole thing at once or simply going the down payment monthly payment route. Either way, we place a very high premium on transparency here at Hemingway Land, and so if you click either this link here or this link here, you will be able to see generic versions of the contracts you will be asked to sign before placing even $1. With all that said, we will be back in November, yes guys, November, with a glut of new properties in some oft-requested but rarely seen regions of New Mexico, as well as finally, a state we've been trying to buy more land in for longer than I care to admit. As you can all imagine, there's a story that goes with that. In the meantime, the in-between time, we'll be back each week with videos for some of our older listings which we did not make videos for the first time around, which may explain why they're still on the website. Who knows? We'll see. Point being, we'll be doing some house cleaning throughout the month of October, but we'll be coming back strong next month. So between now and then, have a great second month of pumpkin spice season. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Follow us on the socials, guys, the socials. And we will see you back here in our next video.